The morning sun rose over New Haven Colony like it had done for the past 20 years. Ji-Woo Lee stood on her family's farm, watching the golden light spread across the wheat fields. The crops swayed gently in the breeze. Everything felt perfect. Everything felt safe. She was 23 years old and had never known war. Her parents had moved to this planet when she was 3. New Haven was home. The colony held 2,300,000 people. Most were farmers like her family. Some were scientists. Others were teachers, doctors, and engineers. They had built a good life on this distant world. Ji-Woo walked back to the farmhouse where her mother was making breakfast. Her father sat at the table reading news on his tablet. Her younger brother played with his toys on the floor. It was a normal morning, just another peaceful day. Across the colony, Dr. Hannah Park was already at work in her laboratory. She studied the local plant life, trying to understand how Earth crops could grow better in alien soil. She loved her work. She loved this quiet planet where she could focus on science instead of politics or war. Hannah looked up from her microscope when her assistant rushed in. The young man's face was pale. "Dr. Park, you need to see this," he said, his voice shaking. Hannah followed him to the communications room. On the screen, she saw something that made her blood run cold. Ships, dozens, of alien warships had appeared in orbit around New Haven. They were not human. Ships. The colony's governor was already broadcasting a message to the mysterious fleet. "This is Governor Kim of New Haven Colony. We are a peaceful settlement. Please identify yourselves," the response came quickly. The alien voice was harsh and cold. "This is the Velkari Imperial Fleet. Your colony sits in territory we have claimed. You will evacuate immediately. You have 2 hours. 2 hours. To evacuate 2 million people, it was impossible." The governor's voice remained calm, but Hannah could hear the fear beneath it. "We need more time. We have elderly people, children, and sick patients who cannot be moved quickly. Please give us at least a week to organize a proper evacuation." Silence followed. Then the Velkari commander spoke again. "Request denied. You have 1 hour and 45 minutes. Panic spread across New Haven like wildfire. Ji-Woo heard the emergency sirens from her farm. Her father's tablet buzzed with alerts. The colony's ships were being prepared for evacuation, but there were not enough of them. "Not nearly enough. We need to go now," her father said, grabbing supplies. "Take only what you can carry." Ji-Woo's mother held her brother close. "Where will we go?" "To the spaceport, hurry." Thousands of families were doing the same thing. The roads filled with vehicles rushing toward the evacuation points. People carried children, pets, and whatever belongings they could grab. Fear filled the air. Captain Dae-hyun Kim was 14 light-years away when he received the first distress signal. He commanded a battle group of 5 warships patrolling the border of human space. The message from New Haven made him jump from his chair. "Set course for New Haven. Maximum speed," he ordered. His crew moved quickly, but Dae-hyun knew the truth. Even at their fastest speed, they would need 14 hours to reach the colony. He could only hope it would be enough time. Back on New Haven, Dr. Hannah Park was not evacuating. She stayed in the communications center, recording everything. Someone needed to document what was happening. Someone needed to tell Earth what the Velkari were doing. The 1 hour and 45 minutes passed. The Velkari had given no warning, no final countdown, no mercy. The first orbital strike hit the capital city. Ji-Woo was still 5 kilometers from the spaceport when the sky turned white. A beam of pure energy fell from orbit like the finger of an angry god. It touched the city center and everything there simply ceased to exist. The shockwave followed seconds later. The vehicle her family was in flipped over. Ji-Woo felt herself thrown through the air. She hit the ground hard. Her ears rang. She could not hear anything except a high-pitched whine. When she opened her eyes, she saw fire everywhere. The farmlands were burning. The sky was full of smoke. She looked around for her family. Her father lay a few meters away, not moving. Her mother was covered in blood, reaching out toward something. Ji-Woo followed her mother's gaze and saw her little brother. He was not moving either. "No," Ji-Woo whispered. "No, no, no." More strikes fell from the sky. The Velkari were not targeting just military installations. They were destroying everything. Cities, towns, farms, schools, hospitals. Nothing was spared. Dr. Hannah Park kept recording, tears streaming down her face. She was broadcasting everything to the hidden relay stations that could send the data to Earth. Her hands shook as she worked. They're killing everyone, she said into the recorder. This is not a military operation. This is genocide. The Velkari are committing genocide. Another strike hit close to the communications center. The building shook. Alarms blared. If anyone receives this message, you need to know what happened here. New Haven was a peaceful colony. We had no weapons. We were farmers and scientists and families. The Velkari gave us less than 2 hours to evacuate millions of people. Then they started firing. They killed everyone. The bombardment continued for 6 hours. When it finally stopped, New Haven was dead. Jiwoo did not know how long she lay in the ruins. Time had lost all meaning. When she finally stood up, everything she had ever known was gone. Her family was gone. Her home was gone. The beautiful wheat fields that had swayed in the morning breeze were now fields of ash. She stumbled through the wreckage, searching for survivors. She found a few, very few, an old man with severe burns, a woman holding a dead child, a young boy who had lost his legs. They gathered together in the ruins, too shocked to even cry. Some evacuation ships had escaped. 847 people had made it off the planet before the bombardment began. Out of 2,300,000, only 847 survived. Captain Daehyun's fleet arrived 14 hours after the first distress call. What he found made even his battle-hardened crew fall silent. New Haven was a graveyard. The once green planet was now brown and black. Fires still burned in some places. The cities were craters. No life signs showed on his scanners except for a few hundred weak signals scattered across the main continent. "Sir," his communications officer said quietly, "we're receiving a recorded message. It's from Dr. Hana Park. She documented everything." Daehyun watched the recording. He watched as the Velkari ships appeared. He watched as they refused to give proper evacuation time. He watched as they opened fire on defenseless civilians. He watched millions die. When the recording ended, Daehyun sat in his command chair, his fists clenched so tight his knuckles turned white. Around him, his crew was crying, some in rage, some in horror, all in grief. "Get every survivor onto our ships," Daehyun ordered, his voice hard as steel. "And send all the data back to Earth, everything, every image, every recording, every death." He looked at the dead planet below. The Velkari want to make an enemy of humanity. Let's show them what that means. 7 months after the massacre at New Haven, the human fleet arrived at Velkara Prime. The homeworld of the Velkari Empire hung in space like a blue and green jewel. Billions of Velkari lived on this planet. It was the heart of their civilization. Captain Daehyun stood on the bridge of his flagship Retribution, looking at the planet on his view screen. His fleet had grown during the campaign. Now 500 warships surrounded the Velkari homeworld, the most powerful military force humanity had ever assembled. Around the planet, the last remnants of the Velkari defense fleet tried to form a protective line. 200 ships. It was all they had left. The human campaign had destroyed or captured everything else. Incoming transmission from the Velkari. Supreme Marshal, Daehyun's communications officer, reported. Put it through. The view screen changed to show an old Velkari male in a military uniform. Supreme Marshal Tharn looked exhausted, defeated, but he held himself with dignity. "Captain Kim," Tharn said in heavily accented human language, "I am Supreme Marshal Tharn, commander of all Velkari military forces. I wish to discuss terms of surrender." Daehyun's expression did not change. "You may surrender your forces. We will accept. But there will be no negotiations about terms. Please," Tharn said, and there was genuine desperation in his voice. "You have already destroyed our military. You have taken 46 of our 47 systems. You have won. But what more do you want?" "What do we want?" Daehyun replied, his voice hard. "We want you to understand what you did. 7 months ago, your empire murdered 2 million innocent humans. You gave them no chance to surrender, no opportunity to negotiate. You simply killed them all." He leaned forward. "Now you want mercy? You want to negotiate? Where was that mercy when you bombarded New Haven? Where was that willingness to talk when families were running for their lives?" Tharn closed his eyes. "I did not give that order. I argued against the attack. But the High Council did not listen." "Then the High Council will face justice," Daehyun said, "along with every officer who participated in the massacre. Those are our terms." total dismantling of your military, war crime trials for those responsible, and permanent human oversight to ensure you never threaten anyone again. Tharn nodded slowly. I accept. I will order all military forces to stand down. Good. You have 1 hour to evacuate all military personnel from orbital installations. After that, we will destroy every military structure around this planet. Do not test us, Marshal. We have come too far to show mercy now. The transmission ended. Daehyun turned to his crew. All ships combat readiness. If they try anything, destroy them immediately. But the Velkari did not try anything. They were broken. Supreme Marshal Tharn broadcast the order to all remaining forces. Lay down your weapons. Evacuate military installations. The war is over. On Earth, Admiral Tae-sung watched the events at Velkara Prime through real-time data feeds. President Yuna Kang stood beside him in the command center. It's almost over, she said quietly. Almost, Tae-sung agreed. But not quite. We still need to ensure this never happens again. Yuna nodded. I've been speaking with the other galactic powers. They all want to establish formal relations with us now. Amazing how friendly everyone becomes when they see what we can do. Fear is effective, Tae-sung said. But we need more than fear. We need to make an example so clear that no species will ever consider attacking humanity again. Ji-woo Lee stood in the hangar bay of her assault ship, waiting for orders. Her strike corps squad had been told they might need to conduct ground operations on Velkara Prime. But now it seemed the Velkari were surrendering without a fight. Part of her felt disappointed. After 7 months of combat, after 15 major battles, after killing countless Velkari soldiers, she wanted one final confrontation. One last chance to make them pay, but another part of her, a quieter part, was relieved. Maybe the killing could finally stop. Yun approached her. Looks like we won't be needed today. Yeah, Ji-woo said. It's over. How do you feel? Ji-woo thought about it. Empty. I thought I would feel satisfied, vindicated, but I just feel empty. That's normal, Yun said. Revenge doesn't heal wounds. It just closes them. We did what we had to do. We made sure the Velkari can never hurt another human. That's enough, is it? Ji-woo asked. My family is still dead. New Haven is still a graveyard. Nothing we did here changes that, no, Yun agreed. But every human colony is safer now. Every child can grow up without fear of alien attack. That's what your family would have wanted, for you to be safe, for humanity to be safe. Ji-woo felt tears on her face. For the first time since the massacre, she allowed herself to cry. Not tears of rage or hatred, but tears of grief. Pure, simple grief for everything she had lost. The hour passed. Velkari military personnel evacuated their orbital stations and platforms. They left in small ships, heading down to the planet's surface. Some looked relieved. Others looked ashamed. When the evacuation was complete, Captain Dae-hyun gave the order. All ships. Target all military installations in orbit. Fire. The human fleet opened fire. Kinetic missiles streaked through space. Energy weapons burned bright. The Velkari orbital defenses, which had taken a century to build, were destroyed in minutes. Space stations crumpled. Defense platforms exploded. Shipyards broke apart. Everything military-related around Velkara Prime was systematically eliminated. On the planet below, billions of Velkari watched their defenses die. They understood what was happening. Humanity was not conquering them. Humanity was declawing them, making sure they could never be a threat again. When the bombardment ended, Velkara Prime was defenseless. The homeworld of the Velkari Empire, which had dominated this region of space for 300 years, now had no military protection at all. Dae-hyun broadcast a message to the planet. This is Captain Dae-hyun Kim of Earth. Your military has been dismantled. Your ability to wage war has been eliminated. From this day forward, the Velkari Empire is under human supervision. You will be allowed to govern yourselves. You will be allowed to maintain a small defense force for local security. But you will never again have the capacity to threaten other species. He paused. 7 months ago, your leaders made the worst decision in your history. They attacked a peaceful human colony. They killed 2 million innocent people. Today you pay the price for that decision. Not with your lives. We are not monsters. But with your power. With your ability to hurt others. That has been taken away permanently. The message ended. The fleet began organizing itself for the occupation phase. Human forces would remain in Velkari space for years, making sure the dismantling was complete and permanent. On Earth, the news was celebrated. Humanity had won. The Velkari Empire was defeated. New Haven had been avenged, but President Yuna Kang gave one final speech. She wanted to make sure the galaxy understood the lesson. To all species watching this broadcast, she began, 7 months ago the Velkari Empire committed genocide against a human colony. They thought we were weak. They thought we would accept this crime and move on. They were catastrophically wrong. In 7 months we have dismantled their entire military. We have neutralized 47 star systems. We have destroyed thousands of warships and installations. We have done this with minimal casualties on our side and maximum efficiency. Her voice grew harder. Let me be absolutely clear. This was not a war of conquest. We do not want Velkari territory. We do not want Velkari resources. This was a war of justice. A war to ensure that the Velkari can never threaten humanity again. But it is also a message to every species in the galaxy. Humanity is not weak. We are not prey. We are patient, we are peaceful, and we prefer diplomacy. But if you attack us, if you kill our people, if you think you can commit genocide without consequences, then you will learn what the Velkari learned. We will not stop. We will not negotiate. We will not show mercy. We will dismantle your ability to harm us completely and permanently. That is the promise humanity makes today. The speech was heard across the galaxy. On hundreds of worlds, alien leaders listened and understood. Some species that had been considering aggressive expansion immediately abandoned those plans. Others that had been hostile to humanity suddenly became very interested in peaceful relations. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humanity was now recognized as one of the major powers, not because of the size of their territory, not because of ancient traditions, but because they had proven they were willing and able to defend themselves with overwhelming force. 3 weeks after the battle at Velkara Prime, Jiwoo Lee returned to New Haven. The planet was still dead. The cities were still ruins. But humanity was building a memorial there. Jiwoo walked through the memorial gardens that were being planted where her family's farm had once stood. Small trees were growing in the ash. Flowers were beginning to bloom. Life was slowly returning to the dead world. She found the memorial wall where the names of all 2 million victims were carved. She found her family's names. Her father. Her mother. Her little brother. I did it, she whispered to them. The Velkari paid for what they did. They can never hurt anyone again. I hope that gives you peace. A hand touched her shoulder. She turned to see Admiral Tae-sung standing behind her. The old officer looked at the memorial wall with sad eyes. The Velkari defense commander at Kelvar 9 was reviewing routine reports when the alarm screamed to life. His second officer rushed to his station, manipulating controls frantically. Sir, multiple hyperspace signatures. Hundreds of them. The commander felt his blood turn cold. What? That's impossible. Identify them. They're human ships, sir. 500 of them. They just appeared at the edge of the system. The commander activated the fleet-wide channel. All defense platforms to combat readiness. All ships prepare for battle. Someone get me a connection to the High Command immediately. But there was no time. The human fleet did not wait. They did not negotiate. They simply attacked. Captain Daehyun watched his tactical display as the fleet moved into attack formation. The Velkari defenders were scrambling, trying to organize a response. They were too slow. All ships open fire, Daehyun ordered calmly. The void of space erupted with violence. Human kinetic missiles crossed the distance in seconds. Each missile was a simple weapon, really. Just a solid metal rod accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed. But simple did not mean weak. The first missiles hit the Velkari defense platforms. The impacts released energy equivalent to nuclear weapons. Metal vaporized. Shields collapsed. Platforms that had stood for decades were torn apart in moments. The Velkari ships tried to return fire, but they were designed for traditional warfare. Long-range bombardments, careful tactical positioning, slow methodical combat. The humans did not fight that way. They fought with overwhelming force and terrifying speed. Within 10 minutes, half the Velkari defense platforms were destroyed. Within 20 minutes, 3/4 were gone. Sir, Velkari ships are attempting to form a defensive line, Daehyun's tactical officer reported. Break through them. All assault carriers launch boarding parties. The massive human carriers opened their hangar bays. Thousands of small assault ships poured out like angry insects from a disturbed nest. Jiwoo Lee sat in her assault ship with 40 other Strike Corps soldiers. The ship shook as it accelerated toward a Velkari command station. She could see the battle through the view screen. Velkari ships exploded. Defense platforms tumbled through space, broken and burning. 2 minutes to contact, the pilot announced. Jiwoo checked her weapon again. The other soldiers were quiet, focused. They had trained for this moment. Now it was real. The assault ship hit the Velkari station's docking port at high speed. Metal screamed. The airlock cycled. Then the doors opened and the strike corps rushed in. Velkari soldiers were waiting, but they had never faced humans in close combat before. The humans moved with purpose and fury. They advanced through corridors, clearing each room with brutal efficiency. Jiwoo fired her weapon at a Velkari soldier. The alien fell. She felt nothing. No regret, no satisfaction, just the cold knowledge that this was justice. For her family. For New Haven. Her squad reached the station's command center. The Velkari commander there raised his hands in surrender. Jiwoo's sergeant walked up to him slowly. "You speak our language?" the sergeant asked. The Velkari nodded. "Yes, we surrender. Please, we surrender." "Good," the sergeant said. "Then you can send a message to your people. Tell them what happens when you attack humans." The command center's communication system was still active. The sergeant forced the Velkari commander to broadcast to all nearby Velkari forces. "This is Commander Theln of Station Kelvar 9, the alien said, his voice shaking. "The humans, they are not what we thought. They fight without fear. They destroy everything. If you value your lives, retreat. Retreat now." Across the Kelvar 9 system, Velkari forces heard the message. Some fled, others tried to fight. It made no difference. The human fleet was unstoppable. Within 8 hours, the battle was over. Every Velkari military installation was destroyed. Every warship was either captured or reduced to wreckage. The shipyard facilities were demolished. The orbital command node that Commander Minji had identified was eliminated completely. Captain Dae-hyun stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the tactical display. Green markers showed human ships. Red markers showed destroyed Velkari assets. "There were a lot of red markers. Casualty report," he ordered. 17 ships damaged, 3 ships lost. Estimated personnel losses at 214. His tactical officer replied. 214 humans dead. Against the destruction of the entire Velkari defense of Kelvar 9. The ratio was shocking even to Dae-hyun. He opened a channel to all human ships. "Well done. Everyone did their duty today. But remember, this is only the beginning. Kelvar 9 was just the first target. The Velkari Empire has 46 more systems. We will visit every single one. We will destroy every military asset they have. And we will not stop until the Velkari can never threaten humanity again." The fleet cheered. On hundreds of ships, thousands of humans celebrated their first victory. But it was not a happy celebration. It was grim satisfaction. The satisfaction of knowing that justice was being served. Jiwoo Lee did not celebrate. She sat in her quarters cleaning her weapon. The battle had gone well. Her squad had taken the command station with only minor injuries. But she did not feel victorious. She felt empty. One of her squad mates, a young man named Hyun, sat down next to her. "You okay, Jiwoo?" "I thought I would feel better," she said quietly. "After killing Velkari. After winning. I thought it would help. But I still see my brother's face. I still remember my mother reaching out for him." Hyun nodded. "Revenge doesn't heal the wound. It just stops it from getting worse. Every Velkari we stop is one that can't hurt another human family." Jiwoo looked at him. "Is that enough? Is that justice?" "I don't know," Hyun admitted. "But it's all we have." Meanwhile, far away in Velkari space, Supreme Marshal Tharn received the reports from Kelvar 9. He read them once. Then he read them again, unable to believe what he was seeing. His aide stood nervously nearby. "Sir, the reports are confirmed. Kelvar 9 is gone. The humans destroyed everything in 8 hours. Tharn had led the Velkari military for 20 years. He had fought dozens of species. He had never seen such complete destruction so quickly. How many human ships did we destroy?" he asked. "3, sir." "Only 3." Tharn felt fear for the first time in his life. The humans had not fought like any species he knew. They had not tried to capture territory or resources. They had simply destroyed everything military-related and moved on. "Get me the High Council," Tharn ordered. "We need to discuss terms of surrender." His aide looked shocked. "Surrender, sir?" After one battle? You don't understand, Tharn said, his voice hollow. This was not a battle. This was an execution. The humans are not trying to defeat us. They are trying to eliminate us as a threat. Completely. Permanently. But when Tharn contacted the High Council, they refused to consider surrender. The council members were politicians, not soldiers. They did not understand military reality. We have 46 systems remaining, one counselor argued. Surely we can hold them against one human fleet. It's not one fleet, Tharn replied. Intelligence suggests the humans have multiple fleets, and they're building more ships every day. Their industrial capacity is beyond anything we've seen. Then we'll ask our allies for help, another counselor said. Tharn shook his head. Our allies are already backing away. No one wants to fight the humans after what happened at Kelvar 9. We need to negotiate now while we still have something to negotiate with. But the council refused. Pride and arrogance blinded them. They believed they could still win. Captain Dae-hyun received new orders from Admiral Tai-sung. The message was simple and direct. Proceed to targets 2, 3, and 4. Destroy all military assets. Leave nothing operational. Show no mercy to those who fight back. The Valkyrie started this war by killing 2 million civilians. We will end it by ensuring they can never kill another human being. Dae-hyun forwarded the orders to his fleet. He also broadcast a message on open channels, knowing the Valkyrie would intercept it. This is Captain Dae-hyun Kim of the Earth Defense Force. To all Valkyrie military personnel, you have two choices. Surrender your weapons and facilities peacefully, or we will destroy them with you inside. We did not want this war. Your leaders started it by massacring innocent civilians. Now we will finish it. You have been warned. The fleet jumped to hyperspace again, heading for the next target. Behind them, Kelvar 9 burned. Destroyed stations drifted in orbit. Shattered ships tumbled through the void. On one of the damaged Valkyrie ships, a surviving crew member managed to send a message to his family on the homeworld. His words would spread across Valkyrie space in the following days, carried by those who had survived the battle. The humans are coming. They are not like us. They do not follow the rules of war. They do not negotiate during battle. They simply destroy everything and everyone who threatens them. If you can leave, leave now, because when the humans arrive, nothing will be left standing. The news reached Earth 3 days after the massacre. The recordings from Dr. Hana Park played on every screen across the planet. Billions of humans watched as New Haven died. They watched families running for their lives. They watched cities turn to ash. They watched 2 million innocent people murdered in cold blood. The world stopped. President Yoona Kang stood in her office, watching the footage for the 5th time. She had not slept since the news arrived. How could she? How could anyone sleep after seeing such horror? Her chief of staff entered the room. Madam President, the United Earth Assembly is ready. They're waiting for your speech. Yoona nodded slowly. She walked to the assembly hall where representatives from every nation on Earth had gathered. The room was completely silent. Every face showed the same expression. Rage mixed with grief. Yoona stepped up to the podium. She did not use notes. The words came from her heart. 3 days ago, the Valkyrie Empire killed 2,300,000 human beings. They killed farmers. They killed children. They killed scientists, teachers, grandparents, and babies. They killed them all without mercy, without hesitation, and without reason. Her voice grew stronger. The Valkyrie claim it was a defensive measure. They say we were expanding too fast. They say our colony threatened them. But let me be clear about what really happened. The Valkyrie committed genocide. They wanted to send humanity a message. They wanted to show us that we are weak, that we are prey. She paused, looking at every representative in the room. They were wrong. We are not prey. We are not weak, and we will not forgive this crime. The assembly erupted in agreement. Voices shouted for justice, for revenge, for war. Yoona raised her hand for silence. The Valkyrie Empire wanted war. We will give them war, but not the kind of war they expect. We will not just defeat them. We will make sure they can never threaten humanity again. We will make them an example that every species in the galaxy will remember for 1,000 years. The assembly voted. Every nation agreed. Earth was going to war. Admiral Taesung Cho had served in the military for 40 years. He had fought in border conflicts and pirate raids, but he had never seen humanity united like this. Every nation, every government, every corporation turned their resources toward one goal: destroy the Valkyrie Empire. The industrial capacity of Earth was impressive in peacetime. In wartime, it became terrifying. Shipyards that once built cargo vessels now built warships. Factories that made civilian goods now made weapons. Even the colony world sent everything they could spare. Tae-sung stood in the command center, watching the production reports. "These numbers can't be right," he said to his aide. "They are, sir. We're building 60 warships per week. That number will increase to 90 per week by next month. 60 warships per week." The Valkyrie had taken 50 years to build their entire fleet of 800 ships. Humanity would match that in 4 months. But ships were not enough. They needed weapons. They needed tactics. They needed to understand their enemy. That's where Commander Minji Bayek came in. She led Earth's intelligence division, and her team worked around the clock to learn everything about the Valkyrie. They hacked into Valkyrie communications. They analyzed every piece of data from New Haven. They interrogated the few Valkyrie traders who had been on Earth when the war started. What Minji discovered was crucial. The Valkyrie Empire was large, spanning 47 star systems. But it was also fragile. Their military relied on centralized command nodes. If those nodes were destroyed, entire fleets would lose coordination. She brought her findings to Admiral Tae-sung. "Sir, I've found their weakness. The Valkyrie command structure is like a tree. Cut off the branches and they're helpless." Tae-sung studied her reports. "How many command nodes?" 12 major ones, sir. Take them out, and the Valkyrie military collapses. Then that's what we'll do." Captain Dae-hyun Kim had changed since New Haven. His crew noticed it. He smiled less. He spoke less. But when he gave orders, there was steel in his voice that had not been there before. The survivors from New Haven were being cared for on Earth, but one of them refused to rest. Ji-woo Lee had lost everything on that planet. Her family, her home, her peaceful life. All of it was gone. She went to the military recruitment office the day after arriving on Earth. The officer there tried to be gentle with her. "Miss Lee, you've been through trauma. You should take time to heal." "My family is dead," Ji-woo said flatly. "The Valkyrie killed them. I want to kill Valkyrie." The officer looked uncomfortable. "Military service is not about revenge." "Yes, it is," Ji-woo replied. "Maybe not usually, but this time it is. This whole war is about revenge. So let me help, train me. I'll do whatever you need. Just give me a chance to make them pay." Something in her eyes convinced him. Ji-woo Lee enlisted that day. The training was hard. Harder than anything she had ever done, but Ji-woo did not care. Every morning she woke up thinking about her little brother's face. Every night she fell asleep dreaming of Valkyrie ships burning. She was not alone. Thousands of humans enlisted after New Haven. They all wanted the same thing: justice, revenge, a chance to hurt the ones who had hurt them. 3 months after the massacre, Admiral Tae-sung called a meeting of all senior officers. Captain Dae-hyun was there. Commander Minji presented her intelligence findings. President Yoona Kang attended via video link. "We're ready," Tae-sung announced. "We have 500 warships. We have weapons the Valkyrie have never seen. And we have millions of soldiers ready to fight. It's time to strike back." He activated a star map showing Valkyrie space. "Our first target is Kelvar 9. It's a major Valkyrie shipyard and military base. It's also one of Commander Bayek's identified command nodes. If we take it out, we cripple their ability to coordinate defenses in 6 nearby systems." Dae-hyun studied the map. "What's the Valkyrie strength there?" 200 orbital defense platforms, 50 warships. Ground forces numbering around 100,000, Minji replied. The other officers looked worried. Those were significant defenses. But Dae-hyun smiled coldly. "Good, let them have defenses. We'll show them it doesn't matter." President Yoona spoke from the screen. "Admiral Cho, Captain Kim, all of you. The people of Earth are counting on you. The memory of New Haven is counting on you. Show the Valkyrie what it means to make an enemy of humanity." Dae-hyun saluted. "We will, Madam President. When we're done, the Valkyrie will wish they had never heard of humans." The fleet assembled near Mars. 500 warships, the largest human military force ever created. Every ship was equipped with weapons that pushed the boundaries of physics. Kinetic missiles that could crack planets, energy weapons that could boil oceans, nanite swarms that could disassemble matter at the molecular level. These were not the weapons of a peaceful species. These were weapons built by a species that had decided to remove a threat completely and permanently. Ji-woo Lee stood in the hangar bay of the warship Rising Storm. She had completed her training in record time. Her instructors said she was a natural soldier. What they meant was that she had nothing to lose and everything to prove. She was now part of the Strike Corps, elite ground forces who would board Valkyrie stations and ships. Her squad gathered around her. They all had similar stories. Most had lost someone at New Haven. Some had lost family on other colonies raided by Valkyrie pirates over the years. "Listen up," their sergeant said. "This is it. This is what we trained for. When we hit Kelvar 9, we're going to show the Valkyrie that humans don't forget. We don't forgive. And we never stop until the job is done." The squad cheered. Jiwoo checked her weapon for the 10th time. It was ready. She was ready. Captain Dae-hyun stood on the bridge of his flagship Retribution. Around him, the fleet prepared to jump to hyperspace. He thought about the families who had died on New Haven. He thought about the peaceful colony that had been turned into a graveyard. "All ships report ready." "Sir," his tactical officer announced. Dae-hyun took a deep breath. "Send a message to the fleet. Tell them this is for New Haven. This is for every human who died because the Valkyrie thought we were weak. Today we teach them the truth." He raised his hand. All ships jump. 500 warships vanished from normal space. When they emerged, it would be at Kelvar 9, and the Valkyrie Empire would learn what human vengeance looked like. Admiral Tae-sung stood in Earth's military command center, watching 7 different tactical displays at once. Each one showed a different star system in Valkyrie space. Each one showed human fleets arriving, attacking, and destroying Valkyrie military installations. The war had been going on for 4 months now. In that time, humanity had deployed not 1 fleet but 7. Each fleet contained hundreds of ships. Each fleet was commanded by experienced officers who had one mission: eliminate the Valkyrie threat completely. "Status report," Tae-sung ordered. His operations officer stepped forward. "Sir, Fleet 3 has secured the Dalvar system. All military assets destroyed. Fleet 5 is currently engaging enemy forces at Helkron. Fleet 7 reports successful elimination of command node at Valkyra Secondary." Tae-sung nodded. 23 Valkyrie systems had fallen. 24 more remained. The Valkyrie military was collapsing faster than even he had predicted. "What about resistance? Are they fighting back effectively?" "No, sir. Most Valkyrie forces surrender when they see our ships arrive. Those who fight are destroyed quickly. Enemy morale is completely broken." This was not surprising. The Valkyrie had expected traditional warfare: long campaigns, territorial battles, negotiated pauses. Instead, humanity had brought total war, fast, brutal, and unstoppable. But Tae-sung felt no joy in these victories. Every battle was necessary, but it was also a reminder of why they were fighting. New Haven, 2 million innocents murdered. That memory drove every decision he made. Captain Dae-hyun's fleet had just finished clearing its 5th target system. His flagship Retribution had barely been scratched despite months of combat. The same could not be said for the Valkyrie defenses. Jiwoo Lee had participated in 15 boarding actions now. She and her Strike Corps squad had become experts at clearing enemy stations and ships. They moved through Valkyrie corridors like ghosts, eliminating resistance before the enemy even knew they were there. But something was changing in Jiwoo. The empty feeling was growing. Each battle was the same. Each victory felt hollow. She was getting her revenge, but it was not bringing her family back. After the latest battle, Jiwoo found herself in the ship's observation deck. She stared out at the stars, thinking about her old life on New Haven. The peaceful mornings, the wheat fields. Her brother's laugh. Hyun found her there. He had become her closest friend in the Strike Corps. They had saved each other's lives multiple times now. "You're thinking about them again?" Hyun said, sitting next to her. Jiwoo nodded. "I can't stop. Every time I close my eyes, I see the bombardment. I see my family. I keep thinking that if we had left earlier, if we had run faster, maybe they would have survived." "You can't think like that. It will destroy you." "Maybe I'm already destroyed," Jiwoo said quietly. "Maybe I died on New Haven with them, and this is just my ghost walking around killing Valkyrie." Hyun was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "I lost my wife on New Haven. She was a teacher. She loved those kids more than anything. When the bombardment started, she stayed with her students. She died trying to protect them." Jiwoo looked at him surprised. She had not known this about Hyun. "I feel the same emptiness you do," Hyun continued. "But I realized something. We're not fighting for revenge anymore. We're fighting so that what happened to us never happens to anyone else. Every Valkyrie military base we destroy is one less threat to human colonies. Every warship we eliminate is one that can never bomb another civilian target. Is that enough? Jiwoo asked. It has to be, because it's all we can do. On the Valkyrie homeworld, Supreme Marshal Tharn was meeting with his remaining commanders. The news was universally bad. We've lost 23 systems, one general reported. Our fleet strength is down to 30% of pre-war levels. Supply lines are disrupted. Morale is non-existent. Another commander added, Sir, we're also facing a new problem. Several of our outer colonies are surrendering to the humans without fighting. They're afraid the humans will bombard them like they did New Haven. Tharn felt exhausted. He had warned the High Council this would happen, but they had refused to listen. Now the Valkyrie Empire was dying. What about our allies? The Korthan Confederation? The Helmar Union? The generals exchanged uncomfortable looks. Finally, one spoke. They've all refused to help us, sir. The Korthan actually signed a non-aggression pact with Earth last week. The Helmar are in negotiations to do the same. Of course they were. No one wanted to face humanity's wrath. The galaxy had learned a simple lesson. Do not threaten humans. The consequences were too severe. What do you recommend? Tharn asked. Surrender, sir. Immediately. Before the humans reach our core worlds. Commander Minji Bayek sat in her intelligence center on Earth, analyzing data from the war. Her team had predicted every Valkyrie move so far. The enemy was following standard military doctrine, which made them predictable. But Minji was concerned about something else. The galactic community was watching this war very closely. Every alien species with the ability to monitor space had their sensors pointed at Valkyrie space. They were watching humanity demonstrate its true power. And they were afraid. Minji's assistant brought her the latest intercepted communications. Ma'am, you should see this. It's a message from the Draelac Empire to their border fleets. Minji read the message. The Draelac were ordering their ships to avoid human space at all costs. They were also accelerating diplomatic efforts to establish friendly relations with Earth. This is happening everywhere, her assistant said. Every major power in the galaxy is suddenly very interested in being humanity's friend. Minji smiled coldly. Fear is a powerful motivator. For centuries, humanity was seen as a minor species, new, weak, insignificant. Now they know the truth. We're the most dangerous species in the galaxy when you make us angry. Is that a good thing, ma'am? Yes, Minji replied. Because it means this will never happen again. No species will dare attack a human colony after seeing what we did to the Valkyrie. The war continued. Human fleets moved from system to system with mechanical efficiency. Valkyrie defenses collapsed. Worlds that had been military strongholds for generations were left defenseless in days. Jiwoo participated in one battle that would stay with her forever. Her Strike Corps squad was sent to capture a Valkyrie command bunker on a fortified moon. The Valkyrie defenders fought hard, knowing this was a crucial command center. The battle lasted 6 hours. Jiwoo's squad cleared the bunker level by level, room by room. The fighting was intense. 3 of her squad mates died. 5 more were injured. Finally, they reached the command level. The Valkyrie general there was old and tired. He looked at Jiwoo with sad eyes. Why do you fight so hard? He asked in broken human language. This war is already over. You have won. Jiwoo stared at him. All her rage, all her grief rose up inside her. You killed my family. You killed 2 million people. You murdered them because you thought we were weak. You thought we would just accept it and move on. She stepped closer to the general. You were wrong. Humans don't forget. We don't forgive. And when you hurt us, we make sure you can never hurt anyone ever again. That's why we fight so hard. The general closed his eyes. I understand. We made a terrible mistake. We should have never attacked New Haven. You're right, Jiwoo said. You shouldn't have. But you did. And now your empire is paying the price. The general and his staff were taken prisoner. The command bunker was destroyed. Another piece of the Valkyrie military was eliminated. Back on Earth, President Yuna Kang addressed the public. The war had been going on for 4 months and people wanted updates. My fellow humans, she began. The war against the Valkyrie Empire is proceeding as planned. 23 of their 47 systems have been neutralized. Our forces continue to advance. Casualty rates remain low. Victory is certain. She paused, her expression becoming more serious. But I want to remind everyone why we fight this war. We fight because the Velkari killed 2 million of our brothers and sisters. We fight because they thought humanity was weak. We fight to ensure that no species ever makes that mistake again. This war will end when the Velkari military is completely dismantled, when they can never threaten another human colony, when every species in the galaxy understands that attacking humanity has consequences, swift, severe, and permanent consequences. The speech was broadcast not just to Earth but to human colonies across space. It was also intercepted by every alien species monitoring the war. The message was clear. Humanity would not stop until the job was done. Admiral Taesung received a message from the Velkari High Council. They were finally ready to discuss surrender terms. He read the message and then forwarded it to President Yuna Kang. Her response came back quickly. Tell them we don't negotiate. Tell them to dismantle their military themselves or we'll do it for them. Those are the only terms, Taesung sent the reply. The Velkari Council was shocked. They had expected negotiations, compromises, diplomatic solutions. But humanity was not interested in diplomacy. Not anymore. Captain Daehyun prepared his fleet for the next series of targets. They were getting closer to the Velkari core worlds now. The fighting would get harder. The enemy would be more desperate, but it did not matter. The human fleet was stronger, faster, and more determined. Every soldier on every ship knew what they were fighting for. Justice, revenge, and the safety of every human in their